Hi there, and thanks for stopping by for another video. Today I will be talking about the book Educated by Tara Westover. Educated is a memoir based on the life of Tara Westover, and I thought that it was super incredible. I thought it was an amazing book, an amazing read. I could not say enough about this book. I talked about this book forever after I finished it. I talked to my coworkers, I talked to random people on the street about it, I talked to my boyfriend endlessly about it, and he does not care at all. I could not stop talking about this book because it is so good. Tara Westover is an amazing writer. This is her first book, but you could not tell because the writing was so great. I could not put the book down. Literally, I couldn't even turn the page fast enough. I was just like, I need to know what is happening. It's a memoir, but it reads like a, just like an intense fiction story, and it's just so good. It's just so awesome. It's so awesome. It's such a good book. There is a lot of criticism about the book and a little controversy because some people think that the stories are so, out of this world that they're not true. I don't believe that because throughout the book, Tara Westover does a great job of being completely honest and vulnerable and open. She includes a ton of footnotes where there might be a memory where she discusses that, hey, I don't know if I'm accurately portraying this correctly. Here are what some of my other siblings said about this event that I'm talking about. But in the end, this is what we all agreed happened. And I think that was a really good thing to conclude in this story because there is a lot going on. So I don't agree with any of the criticism or negative feedback about this book that it's not true and that it's made up. I think that, for the most part, I think that it's all true. Saying that, what is this book about? This book is about Tara and her family, and she has 7 siblings and her 2 parents who live in Idaho, and they are like extreme survivalist. They think the end of days is coming, like, any day now, and they're extremely Mormon. Like, they think that some other Mormons are just like they're kind of doing it, but we're really doing it. Like, they are extreme. And throughout the book, she doesn't really say any negative things about being Mormon or being religious or any of those kind of things. It's just, she just talks about how extreme her family is. And so her family doesn't believe in sending their kids to school. I think it's the last 3 or 4 siblings don't even have a birth certificate. So Tara herself doesn't get a birth certificate until the age of 9. And I didn't even know that was a thing. You could get a delayed birth certificate. That's what it's called. Because her mom has all the kids at home. So they don't believe in going to the doctor, going to the hospital. They don't believe in modern medicine. Their dad, is constantly telling them to can peaches, and he's burying gasoline, so that when the end of days comes, he's prepared, and everyone else will be running around because they don't have any gas for their car. But hey, he has some buried 8 feet under, so don't worry about it. It was just eye-opening because I had no idea that there are these kind of people out there, and whew, kooky. I think that Tara did a good job of definitely portraying her family and setting up the scenes of, what was going on. Her and her siblings didn't go to school. They were homeschooled, which is essentially her mom giving them a textbook and then telling them to go read in their rooms. And this would only happen like I think she mentioned like, one of the parts in the book, she was like, yeah, so mom sometimes in the morning as she was feeling up for it, she'd be like, let's do school today. Let's do school today. And that's a little weird. But yeah, so they would just do school by reading these weird old textbooks that they had and sit in their rooms. Yeah, so, and then Tara would say, I would look through this textbook and not understand any of it, so she would give up, which makes sense because you can't teach yourself science at 9. So that they got that going for them. Otherwise, the kids are working just odd jobs. And I thought that was intense. I started working at a Dairy Queen when I was 14. And I think that's crazy. I'm like, wow, I was so young and I was just taking charge. Well, Tara was working in the scrapyard, like from age 9. So I'm not as cool as I think I am. Yeah, so her and her brothers and her sister would just, and I think her sisters, can't remember how many sisters she has, would just do just crazy odd jobs. So they would work in the scrapyard with their dad, which was super hazardous. A lot of them got cut up and just a ton of injuries happened. And remember, they don't believe in hospitals or modern medicine. So their mom, who started training with a midwife in town, became like an herbalist and a natural healer. And that's how they would heal themselves. So eventually, one of her older brothers decides that he wants to get out and he wants to go to college. And their father is super against it, like just isn't on board. And so this kid is essentially doing it on his own. So he studies in his room with all these textbooks and he's really trying to figure it out. And he seems incredibly smart because he does end up like essentially teaching himself. I think he might have a couple help from friends or other family members that are in town, but a lot of it is on his own. He's just studying. And kudos to you, because I do not have the motivation or dedication to do that. But Tara is, around this. She sits in his room while he studies, and she listens to his record player, and she falls in love with music as she's doing this. And in the end, he ends up going to college, yada, yada, yada. But it inspires Tara to do the same thing. And so after that, she is on this journey on trying to figure out how she can get to school. And she does end up passing the ACT with a score that she needs to get, and goes on to BYU, Brigham Young University. And then it just takes her to Cambridge and then to Harvard, and now she has a doctorate and super successful. But I do think the book, I think that my favorite part of the book is just watching Tara progress and grow. I think Tara does a great job of illustrating this for us. She, takes us from the part where she's a young girl and she believes everything her parents tell her and she doesn't think there's any other way, and anybody that does anything else is damned. It's not, like, literally. And from that to a graduate of Harvard, independent and making money on her own and having open and different beliefs and pretty much exiling herself from her family. That's what you get to see throughout the whole book, is her journey. And I thought that was so great, because all of us go through a little bit of that, like, not an extreme, we're all not like turning our back on her, well, she doesn't turn her back on her family, like, but just like we're not communicating anymore. But we all kind of go through a journey of self-discovery, of growing, finding out who we are, realizing that our parents aren't always right. I thought that was just really, really good to read because it's really relatable and anyone can relate to that. I can't relate to my dad telling me that I'm just supposed to be at home and make food for everybody and prepare for the end of the world, but I can relate to realizing that my dad is not always right and that I gotta figure out who I am. It is essentially about, her progress and her journey throughout the book. I'm not gonna tell you all of these crazy stories that are in it because you're gonna have to read it to find out yourself, but there are just some crazy stories. And I was like, wow, this cannot be real. But it is. So I really encourage you, if you haven't already heard of Educated, which, are you living on a rock? JK, maybe you don't know what it is. But if you have or have not heard of it and you haven't read it yet, go to your local library, check out Educated by Tara Westover, or check out your local bookstore and support local business and just get this book. Buy it, check it out, read it, and then let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it and anything else you're reading right now. Or let me know what your favorite memoir is. Right now, this is my favorite memoir. So, yeah, let me know what you think, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks again for stopping by for another video. I can't wait to see you guys next week.